Hello everyone, I'm Jake. This is my daughter Jackie. We got this brand new Nova Nebula lathe. I was lucky enough to be one of the first ones to get it. And we're going to show you all the features on it and everything. But first, we need to go from this to this. That wasn't so bad, was it?
No.
Let's do this. We're going to get these nylon straps off of here. I just did it with scissors. The top and the sides are held on with just some small nails, so that comes right off. We took a quick look inside the box, and everything seemed to be nice and tidy and where it was supposed to be. We didn't see any damage right off, and then we just started unbolting these things. And we go ahead and get that crossbar out of there so we can start taking other things out. Oh, we got to play first. So we start taking other things out of there. We get that box out. It has the directions. The directions ended up being pretty easy to read and follow. That box contained all of the hardware, all the accessories that come with the lathe. We got a faceplate, live centers, a spur center, the levelers for the feet, and of course the directions. The booklet was awesome. And we go ahead and get the rest of the stuff out of the box. These legs are heavy, but they're not too heavy to handle by yourself. But we needed to get this box apart because we were going to take this whole lathe apart in order for us to lift it up, build it and lift it up safely. So there you go, getting that out of there and looking at it for the first time was pretty cool. These straps right here are bolted to the pallet, but they're also bolted underneath the lathe where the legs go in. So you need to remove those straps before you can put this lathe bed on the legs. These levelers, we put them all the way down. Jackie and I aren't very tall, so we put those all the way down so that the lathe isn't too tall for us. We're going to go ahead and get these legs kind of situated so we can put the crossbar in between them and go ahead and bolt those in. It's not that big of a deal, especially if you have a partner. Jackie put this thing in a headlock and went ahead and screwed that thing in there. Now, a little something we found out later would be it's probably better to leave these bolts right here a little bit loose until you get the bed attached to the legs. Those holes will line up a lot better if those bolts are a little bit loose, and then once you get the bolts into the bed, then go ahead and tighten them all up. So that's what we found out, and I'll talk about it again at the end. We take these little straps off of here, these limiter straps, so we can take everything off of this bed. I've had back surgery before, and I don't want to have it again, so we decided just to take it apart, and then that gave us an opportunity to one, not have everything so heavy that it was hard to lift, and then two, we could go ahead and clean everything off. This bed was pretty easy to get up there with myself and Jackie. And now once we got it up there, it started looking like something, and Jackie gets excited sometimes. So we get those bolts started underneath and get them going.
Yep.
And get them all lined up first, and then you start tightening them. And once again, we did learn the lesson of go ahead and loosen those side ones off. We took this opportunity once again to go ahead and clean everything. We cleaned off the grease that's on there. Most people know when you buy something that has cast iron on it, you're going to have that grease on it. So we just cleaned it off with WD-40 and then go over it with the paste wax. We did it underneath the banjo, underneath the tailstock, and underneath the headstock also. We got it up there. A little bit of teamwork makes the dream work. That's what we always say.
There we go.
Woo. The reflexes are still good. Jackie's pretty excited now. She has to try it out. Listen to this laugh. We were both pretty excited at this point, so she took the screwdriver. She put those limiting straps back on there, and then we went ahead and put on all the accessories. This is a pretty nice tool rest. It has the set screws that goes in there. I have some other tool rests I'm going to use. This is the hand wheel that goes on the back of the headstock. It's super nice. My old lathe didn't have that, so every time I wanted to turn the project, I had to like grab the spindle. That also has set screws in there. I got a base plate that goes on the front. I just put it on there for this video. We were able to get this thing built. A couple of things. It's very, very heavy, so be smart about how you do this. Be safe in your own shop. There's directions for using a hoist and then doing it by hand. We did it by hand. Me or my daughter aren't very big, and I've had back injuries, so we did it the smartest way we knew how to do, and I showed you how to do that. A couple of things. This bolt under here that holds this headstock down doesn't really, it was kind of hitting the cast iron down here, and I'll kind of show you when we got it apart. So when we was going to put it back together, before we did that, we cleaned it up, ground it a little bit, made sure that we wasn't going to have a clearance issue, so it slid right on. And the other thing is, we got these 4 bolts holding the legs to the bed, and then the other ones were kind of didn't want to line up right. So what we had to do was loosen these 4 bolts right here, and then it lined right up. Basically, it's a pretty tight tolerance, and if you have everything tight, then you're going to have 1 or 2 that doesn't. That's the basic mechanical things there. So we just loosened those up a little bit. These bolts that hold the bed to the legs lined right up after that, and then we tightened everything back up. Those were the only 2 problems we had with the build, and I wouldn't call them a problem. It's just something you need to be mindful of. Before I plug this in and show you the electronics, we're going to go and just show you the features of the lathe itself, and there's some of them are pretty unique, like this one. You just loosen up this headstock and you can do outboard turning. There's several different degrees on here, and I'll put them on the screen. And you come back here, and it will also go move the length of the lathe also. I probably won't need that, but it is a unique feature of this. We also have an indexing system back here. These are notched and they're numbered. There's 24 of them, so you have 24 spots on here. Divide them up evenly and do even things on your projects. Super nice. There's a window right here where you can see it. Very, very nice. Here's how you lock the lathe and unlock it. We'll go to the tailstock now. The thing I think I'm going to like most about this is it's self-ejecting. My last lathe didn't do that, so it just pops right out of there with that instead of having to use the knockout bar. So that's pretty cool. The other thing you're going to notice is this big red door right here. It's magnetic. You can put things in there. I put popsicles in there. And then back here, there's a place for your live center and the spur center that came with this. It's very heavy, a very positive handle movement. You know when it's locked, you know when it's unlocked. Moves pretty well on here, and very heavy, very straight piece of equipment there. Before I plug this in, you just need to know that you can do a 110 right to your wall, or you can change this plug and go to 220. And they say that's all you have to do is change this plug. And there's some magic that goes on in here. I'm not an electrician, so if you're going to change that plug, have an electrician. If you're not comfortable with electricity, hire a professional. I'm just going to plug this into the wall for now. And if you do a 110, it's 2 horsepower. 220 is 2.5 horsepower. So that's what we need to know about that. Let's go ahead and plug this in right to the wall. Okay. Before I go any further showing you electronics, we have this remote switch out here. I have it ran underneath the lathe, and it goes underneath everything back here, so it's out of the way. I just ran it underneath here, and it'll go right there. You can adjust several things with this, but we'll get that to in a minute. I just wanted to show you that before we start on the panel up there. All right, we have an on-off switch over here, and it's lit up, so it's on. There's an emergency stop right here. We got our warnings about the electric brakes and all that stuff you just saw. So I'm just going to hit this button in the center, and it's on 500. So without getting into fancy buttons or anything, we're just going to say go. This is on here. I have the set screws on there. It does have that electric brake, so it's going to try to loosen these up. So I do have the set screws on there. Let's go. The first thing we need to do is, how do we change speeds? If you do one click, it's just one click over, it's 5. Now, if you hold it down and turn it, then it's 100. And then it goes to 4,000, so let's go ahead and do that, get that out of the way. And it sounds great. So I'm going to turn it down and I'm going to see how low it goes. So there's 50. It's advertised at 100 to 4,000, but 50 is for a feature we'll talk about in a second. Very nice. So let's just hit off. And it actually use the brakes. You can turn that off or on. So what we have up here is these buttons up here. You can have 2 speed settings on each one. So if we set F1, they're going to be it's a preset from the factory, and you can change them all to 50. If you hit it twice, it's 1250. Let's go to this one, 500, 1500, 750, 1750, 1020, and 2000 RPM. Those are pretty cool. My daughter and I do a lot of this stuff, and I'm probably going to put F1 at buffing or sanding, and I'm put a thing up here that says sanding or buffing. So she just has to hit a button, double check it, and then go. So that's a pretty cool feature on that. You can go to, let's get out of there. Go to menu. First thing, you got your speed chart. Finish drying mode. That's what I'm in particular drove me to this lathe, because I do a lot of resin and stuff like that. So let's just go ahead and go in there. Timer is at half hour at 50 RPM. And it says press on to run. So let's see what else we got. If we just turn this or hit that, it goes to 1 hour, 2 hours. You can set this wherever you want it, but it's pretty cool. No limit, and you just turn it off when you want to. So we're going to go to half an hour, press on to run, and there you go. And so you can do finishes. I do a lot of bowls, resin bowls and things, and maybe I want to do a resin finish on the inside of it. This is going to be just like doing tumblers and things like that other people with resin art do. So we'll just go ahead and stop that, and we'll hit menu, we get back to just running it manually. Pretty neat. The brake's engaged. Let's show you how to turn off the brake. So we'll just go to menu, and then you go down to, there's a whole bunch of settings in here we're not going to go in today. Lathe settings. Display size, assisted brake on. We'll go there, and we just turned it off. Now we just go to menu. Now we're ready to go, so let's see what it does. No brake, so that's up to you whether you need the brake or not, but that's how you turn it off. So let's look at the remote. All right, here's our remote down here. And turn it on, and it's at 1,000 RPM right now. And we'll go ahead and start it. The motor started. We can turn it off. And this is the most important thing. If something goes crazy or whatever, you can run over here and just hit that, and then you're good to go. But there's your remote switch right there. There's a lot going on in this headstock. The electronics are awesome, and it can be updated in the future. They send you this USB cable to do updates and stuff in the future, so keep that in mind. Hopefully I was able to show you how easy this is to assemble, and went over some of the cool features about this and why I got it. If you got anything out of this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, tell Jackie thank you for helping. I cannot wait to turn something on this, so we'll see you next time, and y'all be good.